Hey everyone, it's TimaeuSS, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So our CM bros have been cooking. It's only been a few days after the version 1.3 preview, which a lot more information has been revealed for Imbibitor Lune, Dang Heng, as well as Fushan, and they actually broken down their kit from the trial runs, as well as what was shown on the screen during the live stream. Now, I went to check out the various forum for CN and took a look at what our CM bros think and what their polls plans are in terms of which one to pick up for version 1.3. Now, it is a given that Dang Heng basically is going to be extremely strong. If you didn't watch my previous video, the CM bros did a reverse engineering of the numbers, and Dang Heng was outputting 901% multipliers with a maxed enhanced attack. And of course, with that comes the problem. Now, this is the cost of Dang Heng's skill points. If you were to basically use a max enhanced attack every single time, 33 skill points. And this is if you get your ultimate off, which grants you regen for the orbs. You still need 27 skill points. So their recommendation is that even at a 143 speed Pela that has the tutorial cone from the event plus a Tingyun, and you still have to throw in a Luocha to make this SP positive, the only team that is very viable to allow Dang Heng to basically spam the max enhanced attack is going to be Imbibitor Lune, Tingyun, Pela, and Luocha. Now, this is to make sure you understand, this is not accounting for the Lycon at the moment. We don't know what the Lycon will provide to Dang Heng. If it's going to provide energy regen or, some additional ways to regain the orbs, this will make this easier. But as it currently stands, all right, if you're not going for Eidolons, which may or may not boost its ability to regen those orbs, you're looking a massive skill point deficit. He is so skill point hungry, it's crazy. That's why the only team you can run is with the Pela as well as Tingyun and Luocha. Now, there's another potential team you can run, and this is forcing you to basically change Dang Heng's attack cycle. We saw basically instead of a maxed enhanced attack every single time, it's going to be max enhanced attack to normal basic attacks into a max enhanced attack. And this allows you to take the pressure off the rest of your team. And we are looking at a 9 skill point usage with a 4 orb regen sitting at about 5. All right, about 5 total SP usage, which is just slightly above technically Blade. Now that is a lot more pleasing to see, and this opens the door to various compositions like even Bronya Push or Yukon, Silver Wolf, Pseudo Mono Imaginary. So this might be a bit better, but I know a lot of you are looking to get that 0 cycle clear, and Dang Heng's definitely the character to do it with ease. So technically, we are going to go for the skill hungry route, so we need to see the Lycon. Now, Fushan is the other half of version 1.3, and she has been praised by the last piece, right? It's essentially the last piece to the mono quantum domination, because all we needed, if you pulled for Seele and the Silver Wolf, all we needed was just really one sustain in the form of now Fushan or potentially Lynx to put the team together. Fushan, we can see, essentially takes damage from the allies to provide damage mitigation. What we don't know is if Fushan's defense or damage reduction stats will be applied, or if your ally is kind of squishy with low defense, Fushan just takes that HP distribution, which means for Fushan, HP is going to be a lot more important than defense, right? Because you're sharing damage and you're providing that extra help for your teammates. But if your teammates has low defense, then it doesn't matter how high Fushan's defense is, the damage sharing ability is technically quote unquote pure damage coming through. So the current thought process behind this is Fushan is going to be fully focused on HP. Now, Fushan, we already know from the kit that she will be providing this damage sharing ability. She will be healing herself by providing the barrier as the technique ability outside, and also she will be able to provide a crit rate buff, which is really good, really good. Now the question is, okay, if Fushan 50% triggers the heal, do we run full HP to make sure she never goes from 50 to 0, or do we still need to run speed boots an energy rope, because if you look at someone like Bailu, who's really good, even at level 70, Bailu with speed boots and on top of that an energy rope is still very tanky. So if you have the correct set pieces plus HP main stats on the chest as well as the orb, can you run an energy rope plus a speed boot to essentially keep her ultimate uptime as well as her matrix uptime 100%, which will be really good, because you know this is the key to Fu Xuan's skill. So again, they talk about how much energy regen coming out and how damage distribution works and what additional effect it will provide will be key in determining Fu Xuan's ability. But this is already really good, because not only can she solo sustain, okay, not only can she solo sustain for the team, she can provide additional buffs and most importantly finish that mono quantum team. And the additional buffs, it doesn't have to be on a quantum team, right? She will be able to help out any other damage dealers that would require that extra crit rate as well, but also allowing them to not die, because similar to Luocha, the sustain is going to be really crazy, but most importantly, she doesn't allow the ability for the enemy to one-shot your damage dealer. Sometimes it can happen with Luocha when you are caught, when the passive is down against squishies, the enemy can, if they focus fire, can technically one-shot, but Fu Xuan prevents that due to the damage sharing ability. So this is kind of the breakdown. And in terms of the third character, now Lynx actually a very strong unit. As a 4-star, okay, as a 4-star, Lynx provides so much. Honestly, I would not be surprised if the original kit plan was for a 5-star, but Lynx does so much. Not only does she give a max HP, she also dispels your entire team and provides a taunt and a heal over time to avoid overhealing. So right off the bat, we can see the pairing is going to be ideal for someone like Clara and ideal for someone like Blade, right? Because you want the taunt. You're not likely at this point to run Lynx with another preservation tank, because, you know, technically you can, but Fu Xuan can pretty much solo tank. So it's going to be Blade and Clara, those pseudo tank bruiser that can also deal insane amounts of damage, which makes people think, you know, if the kit is so overloaded and she's a 4-star, you probably will not get insane amounts of heal coming out from her, because otherwise she's a bit too busted, right? She has, look, single target heal, AoE heal, they talk about here, which is crazy. Single target heal, AoE heal, taunt, as well as dispel. That looks like Luocha's kit to me. That looks like Luocha's kit to me almost. So I really think that, you know, her skill kit will be decreased in terms of the healing amount provided. But this max HP buff is really good. Really strong. So, of course, Lynx basically alludes to the pull in terms of the choices, because if you look at it that way, in terms of the banner choices we have at this current moment, right, we have Dang Heng coming first. We already know Dang Heng is first with Fu Xuan plus Lynx together. So for those of you that don't have 2 hyper carries, okay, so let's say you skip Seele, you skip Jingyun, and you just picked up Kafka. Wait for testing, but Dang Heng is probably someone you want to pick up if you are looking to have a hyper carry, because if you're going for memory chaos, each team should have 2 things, right? Each team should at least have a hyper carry and then a sustain. Ideally, someone who can solo sustain. Right now, for example, my team that I clear with memory chaos, my hyper carry team 1's Seele, and my hyper carry for second team is Kafka. My solo sustain for team 1's Bailu, and my solo sustain for the second team is Luocha. So if you don't have a hyper carry for a second team, or you need one for a second team, Dang Heng is definitely a worthy pickup, but you definitely want to have enablers. If you have Luocha, it's perfect, because the mono imaginary typing is going to be very strong later, and having Luocha and Dang Heng SP positive is very welcome. And I'm assuming you have Pela, and I'm assuming you have someone like Tingyun, right? I think Pela's unit might be on Dang Heng's banner. I have to double check unless they reveal it here. Maybe they do, but unless it's together, then you have to make sure you have those SP positive units. Otherwise, you're going to be very hungry for the skill point. So Dang Heng, if you're missing a hyper carry, go for it. Now Fu Xuan, if you have Seele, I honestly think she is such a big enabler for Seele comps even more because of that sustain and the amount of buffs and the way it paves for quantum teams. I think Fu Xuan is really good. Although again, if you already have 2 major sustain units that can solo sustain, you can technically skip Fushan, right? You can technically skip Fushan because you are going to replace one of your solo sustainers if you pull for her, right? If you have Bailu, you're probably kicking Bailu out because Rocha is just too strong. And if you have, you know, if you have Natasha, of course, that'll be replaced as well, technically. So it really depends on what piece you're missing next. Now, one thing to note, if you are missing in both, right? Because some people, they're missing both a hyper carry and a solo sustainer. If you're missing both, I would say pick up Fushan. Because this is the reason why. This is very, very important. The reason why you want to pick up Fushan if you're missing both pieces is because on Fushan banner, you can pick up Lynx. If you get Fushan early, that's perfectly fine, right? If you don't get Fushan early, at least you should have a Lynx, which from its current skill kit, if her heal percentage is good, she can also solo sustain for you. She basically should be able to replace someone like Natasha because of how her skill kit works. It seems just to be a better Natasha, right? So if you're going for a Fushan pull because you're missing a solo sustainer, then technically Lynx could be Walmart Fushan and fill that role. And also, even if you lose 50-50, guys, we already had, remember, drip marketing looking at the next patch, and the first one is Jinglu, which is a destruction unit. So Jinglu Fushan is going to be really, really good if you pick her up because Jinglu can be your hyper carry, and if you don't pick up Fushan, even getting Lynx is going to be good because you can technically support Jinglu, and enemies are more likely to attack Jinglu. Now, whether or not you want this to happen, who knows, but at least you have that taunt option and Jinglu can get more energy to do her thing, right? So with the version 1.4 kind of drip marketed to us, we already know the 2 hyper carries are coming up next because the first one is Jinglu Destruction, mommy character, and the second one is going to be Topaz. Humongous thighs, but it's a Hunts player, right? A Hunts unit. So that's going to be another hyper carry most likely. I can't imagine a Hunt non-carry. So if you're missing both, like I said, a hyper carry and a solo sustainer, go for Fushan's banner. At least grab Lynx if you're unlucky with Fushan, and then going into version 1.4, you can secure one of the 2 hyper carries. Danghan, I know he's going to be really, really busted, but it really depends on what you're missing at the current moment. If you're missing hyper carry or you're missing Fushan, right? I honestly think units are just going to get stronger and stronger as we get more options to, you know, get new light cones, to get new gear sets. So don't be afraid of FOMO, all right? Don't be afraid of FOMO. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts, and this was pretty much the CN breakdown as well across the various forums. There's apparently some event going on, so it's even more difficult to find relevant information because there is a red book thing, and apparently this online event that gives stuff, but you have to add friends and stuff, so very difficult to find information on the forums, but here it is, the general consensus says, and let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye now.